Hello, this is another edition of songs that I think would have been great on Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. This is part 2 in a series of 3. I have an 11-hour playlist to back this up. It's called The Gilliverse. It's on my Spotify and it's going to be linked below. But I'm going to take you through some of the songs on this playlist and my reasoning behind putting them on the Gilliverse playlist. Feel free to follow along in my playlist just to see exactly what I'm talking about as I detail each song, and I will try to be as illustrative and brief as I can. Starting off strong with La Barria by Wisin y Yandel, I would be insane not to include one of my favorite reggaeton songs ever on this playlist. It's the perfect marriage of Jesse's Y2K rap / street beats kind of vibes, and the multicultural exchange that's often happening on Breaking Bad. Like, this is a Jesse drug dealing montage song for sure. Next up, switching to Better Call Saul. This is a Kim song if I've ever heard one, but I Don't Give a Fuck by Boss. If the writers were willing to spend their seasonal F-bomb quota on one soundtrack choice, this would be it. This would be a killer end title sequence for Kim torpedoing her career with the bank deal with Paige and Kevin. If you know, you know. I'm just imagining Kim hanging up on Paige and slowly the Boss song, I Don't Give a Fuck, starts playing. Next up, I have 2 Nora Dean songs that would be perfect. Nora Dean was this really fantastic reggae artist in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So the first one is Peace Begins Within. This is a reggae song that could really teach Walt a thing or two. The lyrics are, "Oh me, oh my, I want to see heaven but I don't want to die. We believe peace begins within." I just feel like a scene where Walter is really suffering and dealing with the consequences of his actions would be an amazing backdrop for this particular song. And then Nora Dean has another amazing song called Barbed Wire, where basically the entire song is her saying he's got barbed wire in his underpants. And I think that would be an incredible soundtrack choice for a montage of Chuck from Better Call Saul being anal. You know what I mean? Next up is a perfect Jimmy McGill song. I don't think I have to explain this one very much, but Walk a Mile by Holly Golightly. The song's gist is kind of like, try being me if you think you can walk a mile in my shoes. Everyone's trying to get on Jimmy's back about his way of doing things, but I feel like this particular song would complement his independence perfectly. Next up, I've got El Jardinero del Amor. This is a song by Orchestra Argon. It's kind of like this perfect, blissful Latin American Lawrence Welk style song, so super corny and cheesy, but in a good way. And I think that would pair perfectly with a really gruesome drug dealing montage. Next up, I've got Topless Party by Piero Umiliani. This is a banger. It's a delightful 60s psychedelic organ fiasco, and it was already a part of the soundtrack for a film called Svezia Inferno I Paradisa, aka Swedish Heaven and Hell. It's basically this narrated pseudo-documentary about sexuality in Sweden. So it shows like contraceptives for teenagers, lesbian nightclubs, wife-swapping porno movies, that kind of thing. This pseudo-documentary also randomly examines Sweden's purported drug problem and suicide problem, but I think it could easily be revitalized as a backdrop for some surreal meth activities, like with Skinny Pete and Badger and Jesse getting up to wacky adventures in the underbelly of the ABQ. Next up is Slumlord Sal by Downtown Boys. This is like one of the most joyous and fun punk songs of the 21st century, and this kind of anarchist jamboree would be perfect for watching Walt get the shit kicked out of him. The music video for this is also fantastic. It's just people turning cops into fun gay leather daddies. It's very fun, very cool. Okay, hear me out. I'm a total slut for Kim Wexler, so I love Kim being a total smoke show on Better Call Saul, and I think there would be no other perfect song than This Is a Man's World by The Residents. I mean, I'm just imagining Kim just being totally hot to this particular song, just kind of like navigating her way through the boys club that is Albuquerque lawyerdom in the 2000s. I think it would kill. Then, of course, I decided to add Le Premier de Bonheur du Jour by Os Mutantes. This eerie psychedelia kind of seems like the perfect song for Jane and Jesse shooting up together. You know what I mean? And of course I had to put Someday by Weevil on this playlist because it's one of the most somber yet most catchy songs I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. It has this aura that's just like so rhythmically hopeless and dissociative that I think it would be a perfect rock bottom montage for Jesse. I mean, just Jesse at his absolute worst would kick it to this song. And of course, Kim Wexler and Jimmy McGill are like one of the best hetero ships in the world, so I had to include Bad As Me by Tom Waits, another Kim and Jimmy song, of course. You're the same kind of bad as me is one of the lyrics, and they just seem like they're the same kind of bad as each other. They matched each other's freaks so hard, people died. If you know, you know. Next up, I put on Ice Cream by Battles featuring Matthias Aguao. This is the only math rock song that I know of that I've absolutely loved. It's such a joyful mess of noise that I think it would be a fantastic, triumphant Jesse montage. Just when Jesse kicks the world in the face and rises above everything, this would be a perfect song for that. To Catch a Thief by Nathaniel Merriweather and Friends is one of my favorite bops of all time, and this is a song basically about a woman falling for a cat burglar, and I really think it would be a perfect Kim and Jimmy song. I swear I'm very normal about them. Okay. Next, of course, I've got Rings by A$AP Rock, not A$AP Rocky, not A$AP Rock. This song has the lyrics, "They will chop you down just to count your rings," and I think this would make an incredible montage of Jesse, specifically during the episode Kafka-esque. He's working this sort of lucrative job, but it's also brutal. It's got strange hours, and he's working for the guy who's kind of responsible for his life falling apart, Walt. That lyric, "They will chop you down just to count your rings," kind of describes Walt and Jesse's relationship to me, where in later seasons Walt kind of makes a sport out of milking Jesse's loyalty for all he's got. And who can forget the lyric in this song, "I used to draw, hard to believe that I used to draw." It's Jesse, I'm sorry. Both the songs Transmitting Live from Mars by De La Soul and You Showed Me by the Turtles, one is a sample of the other, and I think they would both be stellar as soundtracks. Transmitting Live from Mars by De La Soul would be fun for one of those classic Vince Gilligan montages, maybe one of Jesse like smoking weed or going about his business as Walt barges in. The original sample source You Showed Me by the Turtles is obviously a Kim and Jimmy montage. Duh. Last song for today is This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Two of Us by Sparks, one of my favorite bands of all time. Originally, I was gonna say this was clearly a Breaking Bad song, but now I think it's perfect for Jimmy's face-off with Howard, especially in this kind of like vague turf war that they have over Kim and, you know, doing law in the same town. If you could time Ron Miles' gunshot sound effects in this song to the image of Jimmy giving himself a finger gun in the mirror or something like that, I think you've got yourself an Emmy. Let me know in the comments what songs make you think of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, or any other TV show. If you think about soundtracks all the time like I do, I would love to hear from you. Okay, well, as you can see, I'm very passionate about music, and I'm also very passionate about Vince Gilligan media. Love that shit. I've seen Breaking Bad probably 6 times. I've seen Better Call Saul like 3. I am basically hoping one day to have Dave Porter's job. Dave Porter was the music guy in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and I think I would make a very excellent Dave Porter. So Dave Porter, watch out, I'm coming for your next job. Until next time, bye!